Hi, I'm Terry Brock with terrybrock.com. Marketing and advertising are critical for small businesses, critical for any business. We find that entrepreneurs sometimes have limited funds, and pretty much all the time, and we're trying to figure out where do we put the dollars. Do you pour it all into, say, one platform in social media? Like Facebook or Twitter or whatever? Well, there's a lot of questions about advertising, and these are some of the questions that I was asked recently on a radio interview from Canada. Dan Deegan is a guy who has a great radio show on helping people to overcome adversity, build their business, and do more, and he talked to me about how to do these things. So I wanted to share this with you. Now, this is fun. We actually just turned on the recording while we were recording it over Skype, so you can see the video of it, and of course you get the audio. You're going to find out how to advertise, how to market more effectively. If you're an accountant, if you're running a store, if you're running some other type of business, you're going to find a lot of different ideas that can help you. This interview is packed with a lot of ideas as Dan asked them, and I think you're going to enjoy this. So join us now for this conversation with Dan Deegan of Little Conversations Today and me, Terry Brock. I'll look forward to getting your reactions.
Welcome back to CIDI 99.1 FM. This is the Adversity Connection, and I'm your host, Dan Deegan. And today we've got a very, very, very special guest. You know, there's one thing to start a company or start a website and start blogging and start sharing your information with the world. But there's another thing to market it. And marketing your information is key in order to get your message out, in order to share your product or service with the world. Today, we've got Terry Brock. Terry Brock is an internationally recognized speaker and business coach in the area of marketing and technology. Terry and I just finished a great conversation where we're sitting here hundreds of miles apart, being able to speak on this first ever video recorded CIDI show. So whether you're listening to this on the radio, at the end, we'll share where you can get the links in order to watch this live. So Terry, thank you so much for being here. We so appreciate your time, and we're very much looking forward to just the excitement and energy that comes when the two of us speak, and how we're going to share this information with everybody so they can start marketing their company, product, or service effectively today.
You bet, Dan. It's great to be with you again.
Thanks. Now, Terry, I mean, the big question is, and it has been for some time, is marketing our product or service. You know, there's some people that say, well, if you're marketing on the web, you got to go Facebook. And Facebook is the biggest bang. It's the kahuna of marketing. You know, you got to focus your attention on Facebook. There's other people that suggest, you know what, well, do a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of this, and you maximize your potential. Our question to you is the beginning stages of marketing. Are we looking to master a specific area, or do we want to diversify, or do we want to go for the big gusto like Facebook?
Well, I think the answer to that is, as with so many things in marketing, it depends. Because it's going to depend on what you're doing. For some people, Facebook is the place where they need to be. They need to put a lot of emphasis in that, put a lot of dollars into it, and make sure that, hey, you are there because that's where your market is. But you see, that's the key. It's where does your market live? Are they on Facebook? Are they on Twitter? You can do advertising on Twitter also that is very effective, and with LinkedIn. And so the way you find out about it, here's the answer. You test. How about that? You test it. You have to write it down, and you have to say, okay, let's meticulously go through and see what worked. We put X dollars into Facebook. We did this and this. And real good marketers never stop testing. Always testing, always trying. Just like the marketers of old, like wonderful people like Dan Kennedy and Ted Nicholas, Gary Halbert, that have been icons in advertising and marketing. They would constantly test, and when they find something works, they go, great, and they make notes of that and meticulously keep track of it. And then from there, they go back and they say, all right, what if we change this one verb? Let's make the headline a little bigger, is the way they would do back then. Or let's change it from red to black. Or let's try this. Well, with us, we can try it at different times of the day with Facebook. Or if I did 2 in 1 hour and none for the rest, how's that going to be? Or if I put a picture of this person or a picture of that person. But you want to keep details of it. And I would suggest try what's going to work best and what others are doing that are in a similar field of yours. Like, for instance, if you're in let's say a retail store, and you want to find out where do I best advertise, Look at what other retail stores in your area are doing, and look at other retail stores in other areas around the country and around the world. Find out what is working and then be willing to experiment. Be willing to try and adapt. Find how it works differently. You and I are in the information business and communication. Find out what is working and what is happening. Find others that say, we tried this, we ran this ad, and we sold many more. As an example, one of the things we're coming out with, as you know, Gina Carr, my partner, and I are working on a book that's due to be published this fall called Clout Matters, about measuring your digital influence. Well, one of the things we feel we need to do is have a strong presence on social media, with Twitter, with Facebook particularly, maybe a little bit with LinkedIn, but not so much with LinkedIn, because clout really will matter even more to thought leaders. It's very good, and LinkedIn is a great place to be for advertising many things. However, for those that are thought leaders, LinkedIn, I guess a LinkedIn group could be very good there, but largely Facebook and Twitter we see as being very, very effective. And having some audio and video advertisements that we can put onto LinkedIn and refer to them will also work. So, again, a long answer to your question, it's really a combination of what's going to work, and the way you find out what works, you test, and keep on testing.
Now, is there any sort of denomination we should go with? Like, I know Facebook, for example, has a bunch of different platforms that you can market up. Should we say, okay, well, let's take a $50, see where that brings us? Or is marketing our business, our product, our service, isn't it an expensive ordeal these days?
It can be, and I think that what you want to do is look at what is going to work there by saying, well, I'm going to take 50. I would rather take 100% and put it here. Then put 100% over here, the next test, and then 100% over here. By trying to diversify too much, you're not going to get the biggest bang out of your buck. I think you want to look at, but don't just run in and try something shooting in the dark. Do some research. Find out what has worked. Find out what's going on. This is what advertising has been doing for years. They find out, for instance, back in the days of television only, they would look at what kind of advertising budget do their competitors put in there, what kind of advertising budget do they put into this or that. Work and find out what's going to be there. But I think you want to find a good mix. And then once you found that mix that works, you might say, okay, we're going to put a little bit here. We might put 75% into this platform. And then we're going to put 10% over here and 15% over there. Something like that might be the way to do it. So again, it all really depends on what your market is going to say, what your market likes, and where your market lives.
Now, obviously, research is let's be realistic. It's a key element. It's almost that whole theory, if you don't know where you're going, how do you know when you're going to get there kind of scenario. For somebody just starting out, let's say, for example, in a services business, so you have a service you're offering. Is there any specific locations they should go or any specific routine they should follow that you would suggest to get them rolling on this foot? Instead of for them, for example, sitting in front of their computer and saying, wow, how would I research this?
Yeah, I think it's going to depend on the kind of service. For instance, let's suppose that you're a dentist, and a dentist wants to advertise and wants to go on, get more patients coming in. They want those patients. Well, that service is going to be a little different than, say, an accountant. An accountant might want different. So you want to find out who are the kind of people I want to work with. And it depends, because within dentistry, you might have certain specialties. You might say, gee, I'm going to focus only here on children. So you have children's dentistry, or maybe you'll have one that's going to be more cosmetic, or maybe you're going to focus on being an endodontist. Whatever it is, find out those things, and then think about, okay, where do those people hang out? And if you're, say, for instance, an endodontist, then that's going to mean a lot of referrals. Well, then what you want to do is hang around some dental groups. Find the groups where dentists hang out so that general dentists might recommend you. If you're an accountant, you think, okay, where am I going to account? Am I looking for small businesses? Am I trying to work with more medium-sized businesses? Do we want to go into a specialty area on that? Find out where the people that you're targeting live. Where do they go? Where do they hang out? And by live, I mean, where do they live online? What do they normally hang around? Now, it might be you say, hey, I found a direct correlation that people that are interested in the kind of dentistry I do really like to go to Blue Jays games. And so they're really into the Blue Jays, and they want to go there. Well, yeah, great. If that's what the data is showing you, then you might want to consider buying some ads around that event, doing that online or maybe offline. But I think what you've got to do is look at each one. There's no one size fits all, and always do it this way. You're going to want to sit down. Google Analytics is a great tool for finding out a lot about that. Another good tool is Hootsuite. Get the analytics within Hootsuite and start studying those. We go over those now regularly, and we say, okay, where are we doing? We watch the amount of people and we go, whoa, look at that one. It was way up on that day. What was it we did that day? We put a post out on this. Oh, really? That got that much juice? Yep. So watch for those things and realize, hey, when you do certain things here, it's going to get a lot more. Getting pictures, for instance, in Facebook, we know helps to generally get a lot of good juice. You get a lot of good Facebook juice that way by putting in pictures of certain people. Pictures of people, pictures of nature can work as well. Pictures of pets can be very good. But find out what works. One of the things that we do is we use a lot of word art. So we'll get a picture of something with something that I said before, some kind of pithy phrase that someone picks out. One of our administrators looks at it, finds what's there, and we put it out. And then we track how did that word art do. And those that get the biggest jump in usage are the ones that we put back into circulation to reuse a little bit later. People have a very short attention span on social media, so we use that to our advantage. You might see something on February the 3rd, and then sure as a whirl, it's going to be out there again maybe August the 3rd. Given there's enough time between February and August, people probably forgot about it. Or if they see it and go, yeah, I've seen that before, they just say, oh, I like that one again, much like a good song on the radio.
You're listening to the Adversity Connection on 99.1 CIDI, broadcasting from beautiful Knowlton, Quebec. Well, just before the break, we have, just in case you missed it, actually, we're going to go back to the beginning here. We got Terry Brock, internationally recognized speaker and super marketer. I'm going to call you, Terry, because really, I mean, the knowledge you have for marketing and technical is just unbelievable. If you go to terrybrock.com, you're going to see a ton of his videos, a ton of his interviews, and this great little send a voicemail thing that's on the side of his site that I absolutely love that, Terry. I haven't seen it until I saw it on your site, and I think it's a great idea.
Oh, well, thanks.
No problem. But we were talking about the social media aspect of marketing, and just before the break, you had finished discussing about, some picture art, some word art, you called it. Now, taking a step further from that social media, should we be looking at offering, if say you're offering a service? So, for example, a dentist, you used a dentist business, and you used a accountant. The ideas that kind of flow around Christine's in my head when we're looking at ways to market is, maybe create a little mini course. So maybe take a little mini course and give it away everywhere you can, whether it be in your blogs, you link back to it for somebody to download it, on how to effectively take care of your teeth, or on how to effectively maybe create a budget, like if you're an accountant point of view. Is that something you would also sometimes suggest to clients is, think up maybe a key product that won't take you too much time to create, but everybody really needs to understand how it works?
Yeah, Dan, I think you raise an excellent point on that. Having a course, an education, is one of the best forms of marketing. So that, for instance, if you are a dentist, putting out information on, bet you didn't know that teeth could be decayed this way. Even though you might be brushing properly and flossing the best you can, here's how you could omit something and why you need to come by and have regular checkups. And put together some videos on those types of things. Put together something on what's happening. If you're an accountant and say your market is small businesses, you might say, did you know that you could run into trouble from Inland Revenue by doing this, or by the IRS could do this kind of thing, depending on the country you're in, and be able to say, we're going to, what is it, you have Revenue Canada up there, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, Revenue Canada. You probably love them as much as we love our IRS here, too. So, but I think that what we want to do is we want to find out what it is. And an accountant could say, hey, if you want to avoid problems with the IRS, with Revenue Canada, did you know that the law now says this, this, and this? To find out more, you can tune into this course and have a webinar, have a course that's available, and little tools like we use often ScreenFlow, or I love Camtasia. And using Camtasia, I find you can create a ScreenFlow that accompanies PowerPoint or Keynote presentation, and it gives you the ability to create knowledge that you already have as an expert, and then get that information out there. Creating webinars, creating podcasts and other forms of information are just some of the best ways to really get information out there and do the advertising and the marketing that you want. And don't forget writing blogs. You're still giving a lot of good information by writing those blogs, and you're answering specific questions. And here's a ninja trick, Dan, if I can share this with the audience.
Please do.
I would say, don't just say, oh, I think they're interested in this, I think they're interested in that. Find out what they're talking about. Literally, go to the groups. That's why you want to be in groups on Facebook. You want to be on groups on LinkedIn, where your target market hangs out. And watch and read over a period of time, what are the areas that are causing them the greatest problems? What are they complaining about? What are they saying? Oh, I don't like the new doodly-doo from Deedly-Dee. Well, find out what that is. And then create a create a blog post that is going to address that specifically. So for instance, let's say in accounting. Let's suppose you're in accounting and you know the small business is there. So you get involved in a small business group that might be in your local area. And if you see people saying, boy, I just don't know how to fill out this new state form XR 335. I don't know, 335 just really has me spinning, I don't know what to do. Well, then you as an accountant would do your research, find out what it is about XR 335 or whatever it says, and then say, small business, are you having trouble with XR 335? Get your answers here. And you write a blog post that answers those questions for them with lots of references to how you've helped people to do that when they contact your office. And if they call your office, they get perhaps a free consultation over the phone, and then you can set up an appointment. They can come in, you can get them set up, and no more XR 335 problems for them. So the whole idea is you find the problem, the real problem, not one that you just think is there. Find that problem and then address it in a profound way, in a helpful, educational, highly informative way.
You know, Terry, I mean, this brings us right down to another key question. A lot of people that have businesses or have asked these questions before, they've said to me, and I mean, I've personally heard it, which is why I'm asking, is it, oh, well, you know, a blog's not going to help my business. Can a blog really, or an article subscription somewhere, an article that can help somebody, or, I mean, really the reality is no matter what business you're here to serve people. Mm-hmm. Can that help on almost any aspect or any aspect of business?
You know, I think so, particularly today. There are very few areas where we don't want to know something else. We want to know more. Now, there might be a few where you have if you run a stand in a train station, people probably aren't going to wonder about that. They just want to get whatever you got, a bottle of water or a sandwich or something before they hop on the train. There would be some businesses where it might not work, but in most businesses, think about it. If you're a hardware store, find out what kind of tools people are looking for. Or this time of year, when you're trying to take care of those shrubs, here's a good tool that does this. The more you can provide meaningful, beneficial education, the better off you'll be. And today, it's better than ever because you don't have to only write. Sometimes writing is the best way to do it. And if you think, oh, I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to write, that's okay. Get a little recorder and you record it. Just record what you'd like to say. And then there's lots of people you can tap into around the world through services like Odesk at odesk.com, Odesk. And you can get contractors that will help you to write this. There's lots of people all over the world that speak English very well, or whatever language you want. They're out there. You can send them a recording, they can listen to it, they can transcribe it, and then they can wordsmith it, make it sound really good so that now you've got a polished, professionally done blog that'll be ideal for your market. And you can also do audio. Once you've got it written down, why not sit down there and have the text and put an audio together? Many times people want to listen to and get educated when they're moving. When they're driving in the car, they got that long commute, or I don't do a lot of commuting because I work out of the home, but I listen to podcasts extensively, particularly like, well, I'll give you an example here, Dan. We're getting really intimate here. I did laundry this morning. So when I was doing the laundry, instead of wasting time, hey, I had a good time. I was listening to some really great podcasts, getting education, learning about a lot of different things while I'm doing the laundry there and hanging it up and all that kind of stuff, having a great time. And then doing the kitchen, cleaning that up too. Kitchen cleaning turns into education. So now it's the University of the Kitchen and the University of the Laundry Room, wherever I'm going. And I really think that's the way to do it, and to have a lot of fun and continue learning.
Bless our hearts to Zig Ziglar, who created Automobile University. It was the first time I heard of that, and you're absolutely right. Well, right after this break, we're going to get into some other really meaty material, Terry, on marketing our business and what kind of strategies we can put together. So everybody watching, look for that. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Adversity Connection on 99.1 CIDI, broadcasting from Knowlton, Quebec. Well, just before the break, Terry, we got into a bunch of different stuff. We talked about some educational courses we could create. We talked about blogging and the need for the majority, a high majority of businesses to write a blog and advertise it in the field of where you are. You also discussed getting into some groups and really finding out what people are what people need solutions for, and taking those. Randy Gage said once, he says, Dan, he says, the thing is critical thinking. If you go out and you find something that people need resolution on, or they need help on to solve it, says you create a business around that, you instantly have customers.
Yes.
And
right.
I guess this, and it brings us back to the beginning of our show here, which was really research. Mm-hmm. Research. So if we're looking at researching, is there a kind of standard plan we should sit down and maybe brainstorm with somebody a bunch of different ideas? So even if we go back to dentistry and accounting, how do we get new clients in? Okay, so do we look at demographics? Do we look at population? Do we look at, what would be some key elements that you would suggest to anyone looking to sit down now and say, okay, I need to create a marketing strategy, a marketing plan. Where do I start?
Well, I think it's a good point. You want to start, and I'm going to borrow from the great Stephen Covey, who told us, begin with the end in mind. You sit down, you think, okay, what is it that I want to accomplish, and what do I need to do, and where do I go for this research? There's lots of material, lots of educational material on research. I remember I had a class in my MBA program on market research. George Moch, as a matter of fact, I remember the professor. It was a good one. And going out and doing the research to find out what are people actually doing, not just what I think. Too many people make the mistake going, well, I know I would like blue widgets, therefore everybody wants blue widgets. No. Because you're not the one buying these things. You got to look at what others are. Yeah, exactly. Find out what the other people are saying, because some people, hey, they might want the red widgets. I mean, you're a red widget kind of guy, aren't you, Dan?
Yeah, red, blue, green.
Yeah, that's right. See, and some people we want red today, we want blue tomorrow, whatever. So my point is, don't assume that what you want is what the rest of the world wants. And frankly, I often say it doesn't matter what I want. What matters is what the marketplace is asking for. And so start doing that kind of research. And tools are available today to do that. Hootsuite is an excellent one. Google Analytics, we've also mentioned before. Make sure you get those. Now, there's some others that cost you a few coins, but can be very, very good. And look into some of these tools that are out there. Radian 6, for instance, is a very nice one, but you could be putting down a few coins to get something like that, and a few $1,000s every month to get some real analytical information. But there's a lot of them. Do a search on Facebook tools or Facebook analyzers. Twitter analyzers. There's a Tweetalizer, I believe, is one of the tools to analyze which tweets that you send get the most interaction, which get the most retweets. So that it's not just, hey, I think a lot of people like that one. I saw 2 tweets come through. Well, look at it objectively. This is where we have to become a little more quantitative. And I think that kind of research is good. Then do your qualitative research as well. Go out on Facebook and just say, hey, I'm thinking about going with blue widgets or red widgets. What do you think? And watch what kind of response you get. Of course, that's not completely scientific, but you're getting a good idea of what people are asking for. And by the way, take it into another level then, and they say, which would you prefer, red or blue widgets? And you watch people as they respond. And all those that said, I really prefer green widgets, you can contact them directly because they're your friends. They've already opted in to get communication from you and say, hey, I noticed you were interested in the green widgets. If you're interested and you'd be like to know more about it, I thought you would appreciate this link to our site on green widgets, and send the link. Nothing pushy, but it's just here if you want more information. And again, we go back to education. What we're doing today is we are looking at how can we be better educators? How can we help people to achieve the goals they want, to relieve their pain? And education is one of the best ways to do that. Utilizing audio, video, text. Think about where that comes in. I work with clients all the time that talk about how they can do this and what's best for them. For some, it's best to do one thing. I remember I was working with a client up in Michigan a while back, and he was just a genius in certain areas of customer service and helping people on those areas. And so he was looking at other markets. I said, well, look what you've got. And I identified a couple things that he had, but he hadn't seen. And he goes, Terry, that's right. And so he implemented them. And then the next year, he came back and said, Terry, I'm so glad I'm in your program because my sales have doubled based on what you said. We did this. And I thought, well, what you've got to do is that research. And part of that research is getting other people to look at what you're doing. Get other people to pay attention to you and talk with them, because sometimes they can see areas that you can't see on your own. So work with others and make sure that you're analyzing what's going on and being much more objective than allowing input from only yourself.
Terry, I mean, we wouldn't be able to end the show without you sharing all of your contact details, how people can get a hold of you, how you can help people, and just once more go over what your passion is in life.
Well, my passion in life is to help other people. I find it really does help me. It might sound trying, and the jaded journalist in me goes, yeah, right, everybody says that. But really, I find that's what really gets me excited. I've had a lot of success. I've traveled around the world, literally around the world, several times in 35 countries. And what gets me excited is being able to help others, to see other people that go, wow, Terry, you've really changed. It's because I introduced a concept to them, and because I know others have done that for me. And I think that's what it's about. Money, yes, it's very important too. Money is important in our world today, and I think that what we've got to do is realize value for value is a critical way to live. And so that's what drives me. And if I can help someone, if you're watching this right now or you're listening to this and you say, hey, I'm hearing this guy, he's got some ideas that sound interesting, but you want to know a little bit more, hey, that's where I can help you out. Go over to my website at www, or www, as cool techies would say, www.terrybrock.com, and that's spelled Terry, and last name Brock is spelled the right way, Brock. Just like for our listeners in Canada, Sir Isaac Brock. So Terry Brock, I'm going to claim Sir Isaac Brock as a relative, Dan. I can't prove it, but at least as long as I'm in Canada or nearby Canada, I'm going to claim that anyway. Most Americans are going, who's that? I don't know. But that's okay too. So anyway, bounce over to terrybrock.com. Take a look at the blog, particularly the blog. And if you got some questions, drop me a line. My email is terry@terrybrock.com. And one of the best ways to reach me is Twitter. And my handle there is real simple again. One word, Terry Brock. So just @Terry Brock there on Twitter, and I'll be happy to get back with you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for being here again.
You bet, Dan. Always good working with you, and appreciate what you're doing also. The work that you're doing here, getting this out, and the information you're giving to people, overcoming adversity and overcoming some of the things that have hit them really hard. Like, whoa, how am I going to get over that? And you are not just saying, oh, have a happy face. You know, I mean, you're giving really good ideas of people that have done it and how they're doing it. So, Dan, thank you for doing that.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you. To connect the adversity in everybody's life is what our true passion is. You're listening to the Adversity Connection on 99.1 CIDI. We are so grateful that you stopped by today. And remember, we're on again Thursday. And have a great week. Joy to you in every precious moment. The past is history. The future is a mystery. The gift is now. That's why they call it the present. Take care. We'll see you next week.